So we have a question from Neve. Dear Anthony, how cold is it and what did you eat?
The South Pole expedition ranged in temperature from about -5 to about -30 degrees. I ate dehydrated food, which is like a powder that you add water to, and it kind of magically inflates into your favourite evening meal and breakfast. And to that, during the day, I ate things like nuts and dried fruit and other bits and pieces as well.
Okay, and a question from Blake. Dear Anthony, have you seen any Arctic foxes and what are they like?
I have. When I went to a place called Baffin Islands, my very first solo expedition, I woke up one morning and opened the front of my tent and there was an Arctic fox stood right outside of my tent, which was pretty amazing to say the least.
Yeah, what does the snow feel like in Antarctica and how is that different to the Arctic?
The snow conditions can change all the time. So sometimes it can be really fluffy, sometimes it can be really icy, and sometimes as well the winds will blow the snow to form lots of ridges as well that you have to ski up and over. So it's not like lots and lots of snowflakes, it can actually be very, very different. And the snow in the Arctic and Antarctica is pretty much the same really. It all depends on the conditions of the winds and the temperature and whether the snow gets to melt a little bit and then kind of freeze again afterwards.
And a question from Blake. How long did you have to ski for to get to the North Pole?
North Pole took me 51 days.
Okay. And a question from Eve. How long does it take to get to Antarctica?
Good question, Eve. Well, in the past, historically, explorers would have had to have sailed down by ship from the UK down to either South America, South Georgia, or to Chile, or via New Zealand. But today you can fly down to South America and then from South America down to Antarctica. So, which took about, well, it can take a couple of days, but it depends on the weather conditions in Antarctica. For me, it took 10 days from point of leaving the UK to actually getting onto Antarctica.
Question here from Lacey. Have you ever been hurt when you explored the North or South Poles?
The worst thing I did on the North Pole was that I fell through the ice into the Arctic Ocean and I had to get out and kind of set up the tent and change my frozen clothing so I could carry on going again. On Antarctica, I managed to take the skin off the back of my heels and got some pretty bad blisters. So I had to tape my feet up so I could carry on skiing without any skin on the back of my feet.
Okay, question from Louis. In total, how many polar bears have you seen?
I've seen 18 polar bears now, including about 8 cubs as well. So I've seen lots of polar bears.
And finally, a question from Ellie May. What made you want to be an explorer in the first place?
I'm born here in Plymouth, and I learnt when I was at primary school about cold environments, and I learnt about a famous explorer called Captain Robert Falcon Scott, who was also born from the same city as me, Plymouth. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be amazing if that I could go off one day and to see what Antarctica must have been like. And now, at the age of 33, I've managed to fulfil my dream and to see both the Arctic and Antarctica.